They say memory is fragile, that the mind bends when it breaks, that a person drowning in fear will cling to illusions if it means surviving another second of terror. But I know what I saw, what I felt, what I heard in that burning building 5 years ago, and it wasn't madness or shock or the brain protecting itself from death. It was a woman, flesh and breath and strength and heat, carrying me through collapsing beams and walls melting into liquid flame, whispering, "I've got you," like a promise and a warning all at once, her voice rough with smoke and desperation. Every therapist has tried to convince me trauma rewrote my memories, that oxygen deprivation and panic painted a savior who never existed, but no hallucination could have held my body like that. No delusion could have shielded me with their own weight as fire rained from the ceiling. No trick of the mind could have burned her touch into my skin like an invisible brand that has never faded. Her face has lived behind my eyelids every night since, dark hair plastered against her cheek, jaw tight, eyes burning hotter than the flames behind her, not wild or terrified but determined, furious almost, like she was fighting the fire itself and refusing to lose. I woke up in the hospital after, lungs raw, skin blistered, but alive, and she was gone, vanished as if she had been made of smoke, and everyone kept repeating the same cruel lie. Only one person survived that night. Me. I have tried to move forward, or at least pretend to. I teach literature at a community college now. I smile in faculty photos. I drink coffee at the same cafe every morning and pretend routine can anchor a life built on a question no one else believes is real. But some wounds don't scar, they smolder. And some truths refuse to go silent just because people are uncomfortable with them. Tonight, rain drums against my window like impatient fingers, and the city outside looks blurred and trembling through the glass, streetlights stretching into gold smears as if the night itself is dissolving. My apartment is quiet, too quiet, the kind of stillness that makes thoughts louder, and I sit curled on the couch with a blanket around my shoulders, watching raindrops slide down the pane like tears. In my palm rests the charm bracelet that reappeared on my doorstep a week ago, the same silver chain that melted off my wrist during the fire, the same charms warped by heat so intense doctors told me my survival was miraculous, the same bracelet I wept over when they placed its twisted remains in a paper evidence bag. Yet here it is, returned to me, scorched but solid, as if the flames that broke it only shaped it into another version of itself. I run my thumb over the tiny silver star charm, feeling the faint roughness of burn marks that should not exist on an object that should not exist, and something tightens in my chest, that same aching certainty I've carried for years. She saved me. She lived. She's out there. And she remembers me. I tell myself I'm not waiting for anything as I stare into the rain, but something in me is always listening, always bracing, always hoping or dreading that reality will shift again the way it did the night she pulled me from hell. And then, like fate has been waiting for me to acknowledge it, the world changes. A figure stands across the street, motionless beneath the flickering streetlight, rain pouring down her body like the sky is trying to erase her. My heart stops. My breath stops. Everything inside me freezes and burns at once. That shape, those shoulders, that posture, that impossible stillness. I know it. I have dreamed it, chased it, screamed for it in nightmares and in the hollow hours before dawn. The world narrows, sound falls away, and the only thing that exists is her silhouette, carved out of shadow and rain. She lifts her head slowly, like it hurts to move, and the light catches her eyes, dark, intense, almost glowing with something that looks too alive to belong to a ghost. I whisper her name before I can stop myself, a sound so soft it barely leaves my lips. Bailey. My pulse slams like it's trying to tear free from my ribs, because it is her. It has to be, and yet it can't be, because Bailey Strifo was identified as dead in that fire. Body found, name recorded, ashes buried. But the woman across the street blinks once, and my bracelet sears against my skin, heat exploding across my palm like a tiny sun, and the pain is real, grounding, consuming. I gasp, fingers instinctively opening, the bracelet falling onto the couch cushions with a soft metallic clink that feels louder than thunder, and when my eyes snap up again, she's gone. Not walked away, not turned the corner. Gone. Like the rain swallowed her whole. The street is empty except for rising steam curling from the pavement, as if the ground itself is exhaling heat. I stumble to the window, forehead pressing against cold glass, searching shadows with frantic eyes, but there's nothing. No figure. No footsteps. Only silence and smoke and the memory of eyes that should not exist anymore staring into mine like a warning and a plea at once. My phone buzzes on the table and I jump at the sound, nerves frayed, pulse quivering. A single notification lights the screen. No name. No number. Just a message. Don't look for me. My blood turns to ash. Because the last time I heard those words, they were whispered in a burning building by a woman who everyone swears never made it out. Morning comes like punishment, sunlight slicing through my blinds in thin gold blades that make the dust in the air look like drifting ash, and I lie there staring at the ceiling, still clutching my phone like it might bite me, replaying those 3 words until they brand themselves into my skull. Don't look for me. The same warning she whispered while the world burned around us. I should listen. A sane person would listen. But sanity never stood a chance against fire, and whatever she awakened in me that night never went back to sleep. I moved through my apartment like a ghost, slow and unsteady, limbs too heavy, heart too loud, mind snapping backward every few seconds to the image of her standing under the rain, soaked and silent, like a memory refusing to stay buried. I shower until the water turns hot enough to sting, until the steam fogs the mirror, and I almost see her shape behind me in it, until I realize I'm shaking and don't know if it's fear or hope or the way the world suddenly feels too small to hold me. At the cafe near campus, my hands tremble around the cup, steam curling up into my face, the smell bitter and grounding but not enough to push away the feeling of being watched. People chatter around me, students complaining about midterms, a barista humming softly, someone typing aggressively at a laptop, but everything feels distant, like I'm underwater, and the world is happening above the surface where light bends strangely and sound arrives wrong. Then the bell over the cafe door jingles and cold air rushes in, brushing my neck like fingertips, and instinct pulls my eyes toward the entrance. No one is there. No one familiar, no one impossible. But the hair on my arms rises anyway. When I return home after work, the hallway of my building feels stretched, too long, too quiet, and every creak echoes like footsteps behind me, even though when I turn there's nothing but empty space and my own racing pulse. I tell myself I'm being paranoid, that sleep deprivation and adrenaline are a dangerous combination, but as I unlock my door a faint smell hits me, charred wood, smoke, and something sweet underneath it, like wildflowers pressed into embers. My stomach drops. My apartment should smell like vanilla candles and laundry detergent, not the night that ruined me. I step inside slowly, closing the door with trembling fingers, and the world narrows to a pinpoint. Something lies on the floor in front of my couch. My breath catches so hard, I taste blood. It's a photograph. Burn around the edges, corners curled and blackened like it survived a war. I lift it with shaking hands, my heart punching against my ribs so hard I might bruise from the inside out. It's me, 5 years younger, smiling under the marquee of the old theater, eyes bright, holding a program with trembling excitement, hair curled for the first time in months because I wanted to look nice for someone. I swallow hard. That photo burned. I remember the edges catching as the flames crawled up the walls. I remember reaching for it and someone grabbing my hand and pulling me back, shouting that there was no time. I run my thumb over the charred border, and the ash smears across my skin like soot, like proof, like she's touching me again. My door creaks and I freeze, fear slicing cold and sharp along my spine, but it's just the wind, I tell myself, just the building settling. Except the air shifts, warm and alive, and the light flickers like someone walked between me and the lamp. The room suddenly feels full, too full, like another heartbeat thrums in the walls, in the floor, in me. Stop, I whisper to the empty room. voice shaking, and I don't know if I'm pleading with my imagination or with her. If you're here, don't hide. Silence answers, thick and heavy. Then the temperature rises. Slowly, deliberately. The air warms until no breath feels deep enough, until my skin prickles like sunlight is crawling under it, until fear and longing twist into something unbearable. Why didn't you let me die? I breathe, and the question leaves me raw, stripped open, desperate. The warmth shifts, almost like a sigh, almost like a hand brushing the side of my face without ever touching. And I know she's here. Not physically maybe, not fully, but her presence coils through the room like smoke, like heat, like memory made flesh. My knees weaken, and I brace myself on the arm of the couch, trying to steady my breathing as the temperature dips just as suddenly, leaving a chill in its wake so stark I shudder violently. A soft sound follows, paper sliding across the floor. I jerk my head toward it and see an envelope, edges darkened by flame, resting where nothing said a moment ago. My name is written on the front in handwriting I know too well, handwriting I saw on hospital forms and police reports and printouts of missing person flyers before they told me she was dead. The envelope is warm to the touch. Inside, only one line is written on a slip of scorched paper. I never meant for you to see me. My vision blurs, throat closing around something jagged and aching. Bailey, I whisper, the name shaking loose like a prayer and a curse. The lamp flickers again. The air ripples with heat one more time, and then the room goes still, colder than winter, emptier than a grave.
She's gone.
But she was here. She is alive. And she is terrified of being seen. Sleep is a concept, not a reality, because my body lies in bed pretending while my mind claws at every shadow, replaying heat on my skin and words that weren't imagined, weren't dreamed, weren't hallucinated, no matter how much the world wants me to doubt myself. The fire isn't behind me. It's inside me now, burning under my ribs like a secret pilot light no one else sees, fed by fear and longing and a truth too sharp to hold gently. I drag myself through the next day like I'm stitched together wrong, brittle and vibrating at the seams, every sound too loud, every face too bright, every breath a tight, shaky thing. I tell myself I will go to work, teach, pretend to be someone normal, someone who didn't wake up to signs from a woman who should be ash in the ground. But halfway through pouring coffee, my vision blurs and I set the mug down before it shatters in my hand. I don't want to be alone, but being around people feels like lying under a heat lamp, like the wrong temperature in the wrong skin. My laptop is open on the table, though I haven't typed a single word. Search bars filled and cleared and filled again with her name, with questions, with desperate half-thoughts like, can someone survive fire like that, and cases of mistaken death burn victim, and paranormal fire survival stories real or hallucination, all of which make me sound like someone losing her grip, someone chasing ghosts, someone who refuses to accept the world's version of what happened. But I know what I know, and knowing doesn't stop hurting. My phone buzzes. Unknown number again. I don't touch it. I can't. The screen lights anyway. One word. Stop. My lungs seize. Rage ignites where fear used to sit, sweet terrible relief, because anger is easier than terror, easier than longing, easier than that night replaying behind my eyelids. If you don't want me to look for you, I whisper to the empty apartment, then stop showing up. The silence after feels alive, charged, like static before a storm. My chest tightens, heat throbs under my skin like something trapped is trying to claw out, and I have to get out of this room, out of this head. I throw on a coat, though it's not cold, and step outside, letting the evening swallow me, city lights blinking like dazed stars, pavement slick from earlier rain. I walk aimlessly, like distance might soothe something raw inside me, like motion could shake the fire loose. But every block I take feels like I'm walking towards something instead of away, pulled by gravity that doesn't belong to the earth. I end up near the river without remembering how I got here. The air damp, lights reflecting off black water in long trembling lines, and as I lean against the railing, breathing hard, I feel it, heat at my back, a pulse that is not mine, warmth radiating like someone is standing too close without touching. Alice. My name is a breath, scorched and soft, a sound I haven't heard in 5 years except in dreams. I turn slowly, terrified if I move too fast she'll vanish again, terrified if I look too long she won't. She stands 10 feet away under a dying street lamp, coat dripping river mist, hair darker than memory, skin pale but flushed like embers live under it. For a suspended second we just stare at each other, air trembling between us, something ancient and electric humming along the ground like the earth remembers her. You're real. I breathe, and she flinches like the words cut her. I told you not to look for me. Her voice is low, strained, like it hurts to speak, like it's pulling smoke from her throat. I take one step forward. She takes one back. Why are you here then? I ask, but my voice isn't angry anymore. It's breaking, begging without meaning to. Why leave the bracelet? The photo? Why let me see you? I didn't mean to, she says, jaw tight like the sentence tastes like truth she hates. I lose control sometimes. I swallow. Bailey jerks like she's been shot. I can't be seen. The glow flares again, panicked, uncontrolled. The wall behind her blackens. Bailey. She looks at me like she's memorizing me in one breath, branding me into whatever soul she has left. Then she vanishes. My heart stops. Bailey, I whisper, full of awe and horror and something like worship. She closes her eyes, like hearing her name is agony. When she opens them again, heat ripples off her. Visible, a mirage of flame without flame. I died in that fire, she says quietly. Or I was supposed to. I shake my head because my brain can hold trauma, confusion, obsession, but resurrection isn't something it knows how to file. You're here. Not like before. She lifts her hand slightly, and a flicker of orange glows at her fingertips before she forces it down with a sharp inhale, like someone clenching around pain. It wasn't supposed to touch you. You weren't supposed to remember. Tears sting my eyes before I know I'm crying. You saved me. And I ruined everything, she says, voice cracking like wood under flame. I tried to leave you safe. I tried to stay away. Her chest heaves, heat swirling around her like invisible wings. But you kept calling me. I wasn't calling you. Not with words. The air around us thickens, warmer, like the world bends toward her. Your memory remembered me. Your fear. Your hope. I feel dizzy, pulled toward her by something magnetic, ancient, inevitable. What happened to you? She looks at the ground like she's afraid of what answering will do to me. The fire didn't kill me, she whispers. It made me into something that shouldn't exist. Smoke curls from her fingertips again. The concrete beneath her darkens, as though a drop of fire fell and burned it. My breath catches, not in terror, but awe so sharp it feels like pain. Then let me help you, I say, without thinking, without breathing. Her eyes snap to mine, glowing faintly gold, grief burning like wildfire. Alice, she says, voice full of broken prayer and warning. You don't help fire. Fire consumes. For a long second neither of us moves, like the night is holding its breath with us, like the river and the street lamps and the trembling reflections on the water all know that one wrong step could burn through whatever fragile thing exists between us. Bailey stands there with smoke curling from her fingertips and grief etched into every angle of her face like scars carved by flame. And I stand here with my heart beating so fast I think it might combust, just trying to keep up with the truth. Standing in front of me. Then she turns away, sudden and sharp, like she's tearing herself from gravity, like looking at me hurts more than fire ever did, and she steps back into the shadows. Heat pulses from her like a heartbeat I feel in my bones, my lungs tightening around air that tastes like ash and lightning and regret. Bailey, wait, I whisper, but she shakes her head once, jaw locked, shoulders trembling with something I don't recognize at first. Fear, not of me but for me, terror so raw it makes my chest ache. If you follow me, she says, voice thin with strain, you won't survive what comes next. And she walks. She doesn't run, doesn't vanish in smoke. She just walks like she's human, like she's pretending to be human, like stepping one foot after the other is the only thing keeping her from falling apart completely. I don't listen. Of course I don't. Curiosity isn't what pulls my body forward. It's something older, something animal and instinctive, a tether forged in heat and terror and a night I never escaped from. I follow her across the walkway toward the alley behind the riverfront shops, calling her name again, but my voice comes out like a plea, like prayer, like surrender. She slips into the alley and I rush after her. Not thinking, only knowing that if I lose sight of her again, I might shatter. And then everything happens at once. The alley air warps around her like a mirage, heat bending light, bricks sweating moisture that instantly steams, trash cans rattling as metal expands under invisible flame. She stops with her back to me, fists clenched, shoulders rising and falling too fast. "Go home, Alice," she rasps, and the sound is pain wrapped in fire. I can't. I breathe, because that's the truth, because leaving her feels like stepping back into the fire alone. "You don't understand what I am now." She sounds like she's breaking, splintering, like fire is chewing through her ribs from the inside. I take another step, reckless, stupid, necessary. "Then let me understand." She whirls, and her eyes blaze gold like molten metal, like stars collapsing, like heat has become vision and vision has become threat, and for the first time since seeing her again, I am afraid. Not of her hurting me, but of her hurting herself, trying not to hurt me. "I burn everything I touch now." Her voice is ragged, torn open. "I burn myself just existing." And suddenly she gasps, doubling over, hand pressed to her chest like something inside her is tearing loose. A burst of heat slams through the alley, windless but violent, lifting strands of my hair, drying my lips, making my skin prickle like I'm standing inches from a bonfire. "Bailey," I cry, reaching out before I can think, before reason can catch me. She flinches back, stumbling, breath shuddering, and a faint glow spreads beneath her skin. Not steady, but flickering, unstable, like a flame trying to break free. "Don't," she begs, and that word hits harder than heat ever could. "If you touch me right now, I won't be able to stop." "Stop what?" My voice shakes. "Burning. Consuming. Becoming what the fire made me." Her back arches like she's fighting an invisible restraint, like every nerve is electric wire sparking under too much current, smoke curling off her hair, off her coat, rising around her like wings of ash. Panic claws at me. Panic and awe, like watching a star trying to be human and failing. "I don't care," I say, stepping closer, tears streaking down my cheeks without my permission. "I found you. I can't just watch you suffer." "You think this is suffering?" She laughs, but it's broken, sharp, wild. "This is surviving." "Barely." She lifts her face and her skin cracks, thin glowing fissures like firelight bleeding through marble, like she might split open and reveal flame instead of flesh. I don't get to be alive or dead. I'm something in between. I'm crying harder now, confused and terrified and furious at the universe for doing this to her. "There has to be a way to help you." She shakes her head violently, heat rippling. "You don't help fire, Alice. You feed it or you run from it." "Then why did you save me?" A moment of raw silence. Something flickers in her eyes, not heat but emotion deeper than flame, older than the night we met. "Because I couldn't let you burn." "So don't let me burn now," I whisper. "Stay." She makes a sound, half sob, half snarl, and suddenly the glow in her dimples flickers, collapses. The heat rushes away like someone opened a door in a burning room, and Bailey stumbles back against the brick wall, panting, trembling like she survived herself. For a heartbeat, she looks human, heartbreakingly human, eyes wet, lips parted in shock. "You weaken it," she whispers, horrified. "When you're near me, it loses control." A tear falls from her cheek and hisses when it hits the ground. I don't know if that saves me or kills me. Footsteps echo at the mouth of the alley. Two voices approaching, laughing, unaware. Bailey jerks like she's been shot. I can't be seen. The glow flares again, panicked, uncontrolled. The wall behind her blackens. Bailey. She looks at me like she's memorizing me in one breath, branding me into whatever soul she has left. Then she vanishes. Not in flame or smoke. She collapses into heat, into air, into nothing, and the alley drops into cold so fast I choke. The footsteps pass. Normal life keeps moving. And I lean against the wall she scorched, shaking, because there is no world where I can walk away now, no universe where I can pretend she isn't mine to find. Fire doesn't stay dead. Neither do promises made in burning rooms. I do not remember walking home after Bailey vanished, only the absence she left behind, like she peeled warmth out of the world and took it with her, leaving me to shiver in a body that suddenly feels too human, too fragile, too breakable to match what I've seen. Sleep doesn't come again. Not really. Just hours lying in bed staring at faint burns on my ceiling like shadows of flames that never touched it. My fingers tracing the charred edge of the photo she left me, my skin tingling where heat pulsed through the air when she spoke my name. Morning drags itself into existence, gray and heavy, and I feel like I've stepped through a dream that followed me into waking. Everything looks the same, but nothing feels familiar. I can't focus at work, my thoughts circling like moths around a flame, drawn and burning and trembling. The edges of reality feel thin, as if the world is a sheet of paper and there's fire licking beneath it waiting to break through. My students notice. One girl asks if I'm sick, another gives me a pitying look like she thinks a broken heart is eating me alive, and I suppose she isn't wrong even if no human heartbreak has ever looked like this. When class ends, I stay behind, pulling my laptop close, searching for anything that makes sense of what Bailey has become. Mythology, folklore, obscure medical anomalies, accounts of spontaneous combustion, phoenix myths, fire-touched spirits, ancient legends of guardians who burned and rose again. All of it contradictory and ancient and half-lunatic, but there's one thread that appears in every culture, every whisper through time. Fire remembers. Fire changes. Fire chooses. Fire returns what it wants and devours what it doesn't. None of it should feel real, yet every word vibrates along my bones like recognition. The air shifts suddenly, sharp enough to raise goosebumps, and the lights in the classroom flicker. I look up sharply, breath catching, expecting heat, expecting her, but it's just the janitor passing by the window. My heart crashes back to earth like a meteor. I gather my things and leave, but as I step outside, the wind carries a scent that shouldn't be possible. Char, smoke, and that faint impossible sweetness like wildflowers kissed by flame. My pulse stutters. Bailey. I whisper before I can stop myself, feeling ridiculous, desperate. No answer. But the warmth slides across my neck anyway, gentle, fleeting, like a ghost brushing past. I follow the sensation through campus, across damp grass glistening with last night's rain, through the courtyard deserted between classes, and down a narrow path behind the library where ivy climbs the brick wall like burned scars. There's a scorch mark here, small, subtle, like a fingertip pressed too long against stone. My heart races. She's been here. Recently. Watching? Protecting? Running? I touch the scorch mark and the stone burns beneath my palm. Not enough to hurt, just enough to confirm I am not losing my mind. And then, like the universe is tired of giving me only ghosts and echoes, I hear it, a crackle in the air, like paper catching fire, subtle but unmistakable. I turn and see it. Just for a second, Bailey at the end of the courtyard, hair pulled back, coat open, heat shimmering around her like a mirage, her expression raw and wild and terrified. Bailey, I breathe, stepping forward. She shakes her head once, urgently, and before I can move another inch, a low rumble shakes the ground beneath us. It isn't thunder. It's footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. And the look on her face shifts from anguish to alarm so fierce it freezes me in place. A figure steps into view behind her, tall, broad shoulders, a coat darker than midnight, and eyes glowing faintly red like embers behind smoke. My stomach drops, primal fear pulsing like a second heartbeat. Bailey moves faster than thought, grabbing my wrist in a grip impossibly hot and impossibly gentle and pulling me back behind her, her body shielding mine. "Stay behind me," she snaps, voice low and lethal, the ground warming beneath our feet as if the earth itself recognizes her anger. The man, or thing, steps closer, his skin flickering with faint heat ripples like there's fire trapped under his flesh too. "You shouldn't be here," he says, voice like gravel dragged through coals. Bailey's grip tightens around my wrist just as my skin begins to warm under her touch, electricity and heat racing up my arm until my breath catches. She feels it too because her gaze flicks down, and something like dread flashes across her face. "Go," he growls, eyes narrowing. "Before you lose control." Bailey's jaw clenches. "I'm not leaving her." "Then she'll burn with you," he snaps back. "We all know what happens when you get pushed." The air around Bailey ripples violently, heat blooming in waves that lick across my skin. Not painful but hungry, alive, aware. Her eyes blaze brighter, light leaking from the cracks of her being like she is fighting something enormous and ancient within herself. "Leave," she says again, voice rough, but this time it's to me.
"Now."
"No," I whisper, because I can't walk away, not when she's shaking, not when fear and fury war inside her like a storm. "Bailey, don't." The man laughs, low and cruel. "Humans always ruin everything." That's when Bailey snaps. Heat erupts outward like an unseen explosion, bricks cracking, ivy shriveling in an instant, air shimmering so violently the world bends. I stumble back, but her hand keeps me anchored, tethered, grounded. The man flinches as flames flicker under Bailey's skin again, crawling up her throat like veins of molten gold, and for the first time I understand. This isn't power, not really. It's a wound with teeth.
And he isn't surprised by it.
He's expecting it, waiting for it. "There it is," he murmurs, almost pleased. Bailey grits her teeth, face contorted in concentration and agony, trying to hold herself together, trying not to erupt, and I realize suddenly, viscerally, dangerously, she is not afraid of him. She is afraid of herself.
And me.
And what she might do if she loses control here, with me in her hands, with him provoking her. I reach for her with my free hand and touch her arm before she can jerk away, and the moment my skin meets hers, the heat collapses, like a wave crashing into shore, like flame pulled back into the wick. The air cools. Bailey gasps, knees buckling, the glow dying in her skin like someone smothered her from the inside. The man stares, startled for the first time. Impossible. Bailey pulls me closer to her, holding me like a lifeline, trembling violently as smoke curls from her hair, her voice barely a whisper. "You're grounding me." The man steps forward and her body arches, heat flaring again reflexively, but I grab her face, force her to look at me, and the fire dies again with a sound like a breath being punched out of the world. "Run," she whispers to me. "With you?" I whisper back, and her expression fractures into something devastating, terrified and yearning. The man snarls frustration, rage, something predatory, and then he retreats, melting into heat haze like a mirage dissolving. And just like that, we're alone. Bailey collapses to her knees, shaking, smoke rising from her skin in faint ribbons. I drop beside her, heart racing, the touch of her burning into my bones but not hurting, never hurting. "Bailey," I breathe, hand on her cheek. "Tell me what's happening." She closes her eyes, voice breaking like a flame snapping in cold air. "They want to turn me into a weapon." Her fingers clutch mine, desperate. "And you," she swallows, heat curling under her skin again, gentler this time, like a pulse. "You're the only thing that stops it." I don't know whether to feel chosen or doomed. Maybe both. Fire, after all, is only holy until it touches skin. Then it becomes something else entirely. People always imagine fire as loud, roaring, violent, but right now it is silent. The kind of silence that hums beneath the skin like static waiting to strike, and Bailey kneels on the cold ground with smoke rising faintly from her shoulders, her breath shaking, her fingers still wrapped in mine like she's afraid letting go would shatter us both. I can feel her heartbeat through her palm, rapid and unsteady, too hot, Too wild. Like there's a furnace caged inside her ribs trying to break free. And I don't realize I'm holding my breath until she lifts her head, eyes still glowing faintly, like cooling embers. You shouldn't be here, she says, voice raw, but the words don't have conviction anymore, just fear, and something else, something fragile threaded through heat like a single glass filament inside a burning bulb. You keep saying that. I breathe, trying to steady us both even though my own pulse is chaos, and you keep showing up anyway. She flinches like the truth scorches her more than flame ever could. I told you there are things hunting me, she whispers, and now they've seen you. A chill crawls down my spine, even though her body radiates warmth beside mine. Danger is no longer hypothetical, not a fevered paranoia or grief-induced hallucination. Danger has eyes and heat and a voice that spoke like I didn't matter except as leverage to break her. Who are they? I ask, and she looks away, jaw tense, smoke curling from her throat on her exhale like secrets burning before they leave her mouth. They're like me, she says finally, or they used to be. Fire didn't kill them either, but it doesn't give gifts. It demands. She stands slowly, unsteady, like the earth is still quaking beneath her feet, and she braces a hand against the brick wall, leaving behind a faint scorch print shaped like her palm. We were supposed to die, she murmurs, voice distant, like she's somewhere else, 5 years ago, in flames, in rebirth, in agony no one witnessed. Some of us did. Some of us didn't. And the ones who didn't, she swallows hard. We came back wrong. I rise with her, not touching yet, though my body aches to reach, not out of pity, but connection, gravity, inevitability. You're not wrong, I say quietly, and her breath catches like I struck her, but she shakes her head sharply. I lose control, she says, voice low, trembling. You saw it. My skin splits. My blood burns. I am always one breath away from turning into something that destroys everything near me. She meets my gaze with eyes that look like molten metal cooling and heartbreak. That includes you. My throat tightens, but I don't step back. I step closer, gently, enough that she can feel my presence without touching. You didn't hurt me. Not yet. And those 2 words hold 1,000 years of fear. I inhale, and the air tastes faintly like smoke, warm, sweet, unnerving. Then let me decide if I'm afraid. Her expression shifts. Fear, longing, disbelief, hunger, grief, all flickering across her face like flame shadow on walls. Alice, she whispers, and my heart feels like a match waiting for a strike. But then she stiffens, senses flaring like heat, and she scans the shadows again, jaw tightening. We need to move. I let her lead, because the world feels like it tilted, and she's the only gravity I trust right now. We slip through side streets and alleys until we reach my building, and she stops outside like the threshold itself is dangerous. I can't come in, she says, looking at the door like it's a grave or a promise she doesn't think she deserves. Why? Walls hold heat, she answers, voice tight, and small spaces trap it. If I lose control inside, her sentence dies like a flame smothered mid-breath. Then stay with me out here, I say before my mind can caution me, and she looks at me like I just offered her something sacred and impossible. But she shakes her head, stepping back as if tether pulled her away. Every second near you makes it worse. Worse. Stronger. Her voice is barely sound now, more heat than breath. You make the fire remember being alive. A shiver runs through me, not fear, but the kind of recognition that feels like fate pretending to be logic. And when you touch me, she continues, voice frayed, you calm it. You anchor it. But that means it's in you too. The heat. The change. My stomach flips. What? She reaches out as if to touch me, then stops, her fingers hanging in the air inches from my cheek, trembling with restraint. Look at your skin. I do. And there it is. A faint glow, golden, subtle, threading beneath the surface like warmth made visible, pulsing gently with my heartbeat. I gasp, stepping closer to the streetlight to confirm it's not imagination. The glow fades and returns, as if responding to my shock. What did you do to me? I whisper, breath shaky. Bailey looks shattered. I try not to mark you. Mark me? Fire leaves traces, she whispers, pain twisting every syllable. On what it saves. On what it touches. On what it can't let go of. My chest rises and falls too fast. You think I'm changing? I know you are. Her voice cracks like fragile embers breaking open. I felt it. My mind races, fear, wonder, adrenaline all surging at once. Will I become like you? Her eyes fill with something devastating, terror and longing at war. If you stay near me, yes. And if I stay away? She doesn't answer. She doesn't have to. The silence is heavy, thick, final. Distance means losing her. Staying means burning. My heart doesn't even hesitate. Then I'm not going anywhere. She closes her eyes like my words are both salvation and a death sentence. Alice, she pleads softly, I'm not worth what you'll lose. You don't get to decide that. A tremor moves through her like a flame shivering against wind. They'll come again, she warns, voice hollow. They want me back. They want to break whatever you are to me. And if they can't, they will kill you. Then teach me, I say, surprising myself even as the words fall out like instinct. Teach me what you are. Teach me what they are. Let me fight with you. She looks wrecked by the idea, horrified and hopeful all at once. I don't need a weapon, she whispers. I need a grave. That hurts, sharp and deep, but I don't back down. I don't care what you think you are, I say softly. I know what I see. She meets my eyes, and for a heartbeat, she isn't fire or fear or ruin. She is just a woman aching to belong somewhere that doesn't burn. And then, gently, carefully, she holds out her hand, not touching me, just offering the space between us like a promise and a warning wrapped together. If you walk this path with me, she murmurs, voice trembling with something ancient and fragile, there is no turning back. I step closer, feeling heat bloom under my skin like a spark waking. I've been walking it since the night you carried me out of the fire. The air between us glows faintly, warmth humming like a heartbeat we suddenly share. And for the first time, Bailey doesn't pull away. Fire, after all, doesn't only destroy. Sometimes it chooses what to burn for. I wake up the next morning with heat under my ribs like a second pulse, a slow ember-soft throb that shouldn't exist in a human body and yet breathes inside me as naturally as my heartbeat. Sunlight spills through the blinds, warm on my face, but the warmth in my chest is hotter, alive, aware, like something inside me is stretching, waking, remembering a language I've never spoken. I lie very still, afraid to move in case the feeling vanishes or erupts, and my fingers drift beneath my shirt to press lightly over my sternum. The skin there feels normal, but deeper, too deep to touch. Something stirs like a spark curling inside bone. Panic rises like smoke, but wonder rises with it, and those two things battle in my throat until breathing feels like choosing sides. When my phone buzzes, I jump hard enough to kick the sheets off, but it's only an email from a student. Ordinary life insisting it still exists even as my bloodstream whispers something ancient and burning. I force myself up, dress, splash water on my face, and every motion feels slightly wrong, slightly charged, like I'm wearing someone else's body or like my bones are humming beneath the surface. When I step outside my building, the air feels too cool, my skin prickling as if craving heat, and the moment sunlight touches me, the warmth inside me flares bright enough to make me gasp. I lean against the brick wall, gripping it like I need to anchor myself to the version of reality that existed before Bailey ruined and remade me. I almost expect her to appear in the street, heat shimmering around her like a warning, but she doesn't. Instead, she waits at the edge of the park across the street, cloak dark, hand in her pockets, head bowed like someone carrying too many ghosts. Even from here I feel her before I truly see her, heat rolling toward me like recognition, like gravity. My breath stutters and I cross the street, drawn, tethered, my chest tightening with every step like invisible threads are pulling us together. When I reach her, she doesn't speak, just lifts her gaze in God. Her eyes look like sunrise trapped in water, gold shimmering under darkness, equal parts deadly and breakable. "You feel it," she murmurs, not a question. "I do." My voice sounds like someone else's, low, raw, reverent. "It's waking up." She inhales sharply like my words cut, and the air around her ripples with heat before she reins it in. "We should have time," she says quietly, like she's reciting a lie she wants to believe. But fire doesn't always behave the way we think it will. She begins to walk, and I fall in beside her without asking where we're going. The park is quiet this early, dew on the grass, sunlight brushing over leaves like a promise no one asked for. Bailey moves like someone who could vanish between breaths, and every time her arm swings close enough to brush mine, the ember under my chest flares as if greeting her heat. "Tell me what's happening to me," I say, and she exhales slowly, like the answer hurts. "The flame recognized you," she whispers. "You're bonded to it now."
To me.
"To what I became." Bonded. I echo, the word heavy, intimate, terrifying, beautiful. "It means," she hesitates, jaw tensing, "you'll feel what I feel."
Heat.
Instability. Hunger.
Fear.
And if it grows, she swallows. "You'll burn from the inside until you're something new, or something gone." Fear claws at my stomach, but doesn't root. There's something steadier beneath it, something that feels disturbingly like acceptance or fate. "Why me?" I whisper. "The fire chose," she replies. "I didn't." But her voice trembles on the last word, betraying the truth. She did choose, in that burning building, in the moment she lifted me instead of letting me die. I want to take her hand, but I don't. Not yet. Not when I see that restraint is the only armor she has left. "Show me how to control it," I say. "Teach me." She stops, looks at me like she wants to say no and yes and run and stay all at once. "You start by listening to it," she murmurs, stepping closer. Heat speaks. "Flames remember. Close your eyes." I do, breath shaky. Her voice wraps around me like warmth. "Where's the fire inside you?" I search inward, and there it is, a pulse, a spark, a coil of warmth curling deeper than blood. "In my chest," I whisper. "Good. Stay with it. Don't fear it." Her presence gets closer, her breath brushing my cheek, and the ember inside me flares bright enough I feel heat crawl up my throat. "Now breathe into it," she murmurs, voice soft like danger disguised as comfort. "Invite it. Don't fight it." My inhale is slow, trembling, and heat rises under my skin like dawn breaking through flesh. It's too much, too alive, and I gasp, eyes flying open. Bailey is inches from me, hands clenched at her sides, jaw tight like she's holding herself back from touching me. "It's strong," I whisper. "I know." Her voice breaks. "It answers you too easily." "Is that bad?" "It's dangerous." She steps back, breathing hard. "I thought there would be time." I swallow hard. "Time before what?" She doesn't answer. Instead, she scans the park like she hears something I can't, shoulders tensing like a storm is coming. "We shouldn't stay here. Someone's watching us." The words slip out without thought, instinct sharpened by heat, and she looks at me sharply, startled. "You felt that?" "Yes." And I did, a prickle along my spine, not cold but hot, like unseen eyes made of ember. She curses under her breath and grabs my wrist. Her touch sends a rush of warmth through me so intense my knees almost buckle. "Move," she orders, urgency vibrating through her voice. We turn down a wooded path and my blood pounds in my ears, heat stirring in my veins like something eager to rise. Branches rustle to our right, footsteps, too heavy, too controlled to be accidental. Bailey stiffens, pulling me closer. "Don't let go of me," she whispers. "Not for anything." I don't promise. I simply hold on tighter. Something moves ahead, shadow, heat, shape. Not Bailey. Not human. My skin prickles. Bailey's arm cages me back just as a figure steps into the path, eyes glowing faintly orange, breath steaming like smoke. "Found you," it growls, voice molten and cruel. Bailey shoves me behind her. Heat erupts from her body like a shield, but suddenly something inside me responds, rising to meet it, matching it, like two flames trying to learn each other's rhythm. The figure laughs, gaze flicking to me. She's burning already. Bailey snaps like a wildfire hitting wind. Touch her, and I'll tear you apart. The heat surges, overwhelming, and for a terrifying second she blazes, cracks of gold lightening beneath her skin, fire licking the corners of her eyes. She is losing control. Again. And this time I feel it inside me too, my chest heating, skin glowing faintly, breath turning hot, like the fire wants to rise through me to join hers. Bailey, I choke out, reaching for her arm, fingers trembling as heat licks my palm. The moment I touch her, the fire in her stutters, flickers, pulls back like breath sucked away. She gasps, folding slightly, but she doesn't ignite. Not fully. Not yet. We breathe together, heat settling but simmering beneath our skin like an unspoken vow. The enemy watches, eyes narrowing. She's your leash, he sneers. Or your fuel. Bailey bares her teeth, half feral, half terrified. Run, she tells me again, voice cracking. I'm not letting you face this alone. You don't understand, she hisses. If I fight near you, then teach me to stand with you. The enemy steps closer, heat rippling around him like hunger. The ember in my chest flares, hot and ready, and for the first time I feel not fear, but power. Bailey sees it. Fear flashes in her eyes, not of the enemy, but of me, of US, of what we could become together. Alice, she whispers, shaking, don't burn for me. Too late, I whisper back, and as heat rises from both our bodies in the same rhythm, the world around us seems to hold its breath, realizing something neither of us has dared to say aloud. Fire has chosen both of us, now. I didn't know a heartbeat could feel like kindling catching, didn't know air could taste like smoke without a flame in sight, didn't know my body could wake up something ancient and hungry beneath my skin that thrums every time Bailey is near. But now every inhale feels like fuel, and every exhale feels like surrender, and I am terrified and alive and unable to turn away even if I wanted to, which I don't, not anymore. The creature who confronted us melts back into the trees like smoke dissolving in wind, and as soon as he's gone the heat inside me eases, but it doesn't die, it curls into itself like a sleeping ember, patient. Bailey stands trembling, not from fear but from restraint, chest rising too fast, light pulsing under her skin like molten gold trapped beneath flesh. She doesn't look at me for a long moment, and when she finally does, her eyes flicker like a candle fighting wind. We have to go, she says, voice hoarse brittle.
Now.
I nod but don't move, because she's swaying, legs weak, hands clenched like she's holding herself together through sheer will. I reach for her without thinking, instinct more than intention, and the moment my skin touches her wrist, she inhales sharply as if my touch yanks her back from the edge of combustion. Alice, she breathes like a warning, like a plea. Don't. You're burning, I say, voice trembling but steady enough, and I'm not letting you fall apart alone. Something flickers across her face. Fear, longing, despair, devotion, and then she pulls away, not violently but urgently, like closeness is a cliff edge she can't afford to stand on. I can't let you do this, she whispers, stepping back. I can't drag you into this world. You didn't drag me, I murmur, heat still humming beneath my ribs. I walked. A sound escapes her, soft and wounded and angry at itself. You don't know what we are, she says, and the word we hooks into my lungs because she said it, she included me without meaning to, admitted the bond even as she fights it. Then tell me. I push, voice barely sound. Tell me before I find out the wrong way. Her jaw tightens. The wrong way is already happening. Heat ripples from her like a sigh she can't control. I never wanted this for you. The world tilts, pain and tenderness tangled into something sharp. You saved my life. And ruined your future. No, I say, low and certain, surprising myself. You gave me a future I didn't know I wanted. She looks like she wants to shatter. Or kiss me. Or run. Maybe all three. But then her eyes flick sharply past me, and her posture snaps to alert. "They're circling," she murmurs, voice suddenly steel. "We can't stay exposed." She grabs my hand and pulls, and the heat in my chest flares at her touch. Not painful, but intimate, like recognition, like promise. We sprint across the park, into a side street, through twisting alleys until we reach an abandoned warehouse with broken windows and graffiti bleeding down the walls like old screams. Bailey pushes the door open and pulls me inside, closing it behind us, as if shutting the world out with one gesture. Inside, dust floats like ash and shafts of light cutting through broken panes. Silence settles heavy, thick, and then Bailey drops my hand and paces, restless, like a caged thing built for flame, not walls. "They won't attack here," she mutters, jaw set. "Too open. Too many ways to burn down half the block." That should terrify me, but it doesn't. Not the way it should. Everything terrifies me and nothing does, because the danger is real, but so is she, so am I, so are we. "We need to talk," I say softly. She stops pacing. "Talking won't save you. Pretending this isn't happening won't either." She exhales sharply, hands shaking. "You're changing, Alice. Look at your skin." I do. The faint glow under my flesh pulses again, gentle, golden, rhythmic. "Is it alive?" I whisper. "It's heat learning you," she says. "It's choosing how to grow." The thought knocks something loose in me, primal and terrifyingly beautiful. "Is that what happened to you?" "No," her voice breaks. "Mine didn't choose. Mine consumed." My breath shakes. "Can I stop it?" "Not anymore." She swallows. "But you can slow it. Or you can surrender to it." "What happens if I surrender?" She looks at me like she's seeing a future she desperately doesn't want. "You stop being human." "I already stopped feeling human the night you saved me." She flinches hard. "Don't say that. It's true." It's pain speaking. It's truth speaking. Her eyes flicker bright, gold trembling under brown like fire behind glass. "I don't want to watch you burn." "Then stay," I whisper, stepping close. "Keep me steady." Her whole body tenses, heat radiating off her like a heartbeat. "I can't be near you long," she whispers. "The more time we spend together, the faster it grows in you." "And if I stay away, I burn anyway?" "Piece by piece," she murmurs. "Slow, quiet, alone." The words lodge in my ribs like hooks. "So either way, I burn." "Yes." "Then why does staying with you feel like the only choice that isn't dying?" She closes her eyes like the question hurts. "Because fire knows its own," she whispers. The silence after is unbearable and holy. My hand rises on instinct again, not touching her, not yet, but hovering near her cheek like gravity wants us connected. Her breath catches. The air thickens. Heat coils between us like a live wire. And then a crash. The windows rattle. Bailey spins, eyes blazing, one hand snapping up like she could tear the world open. "They're here," she hisses. Before I can react, the far shadows ripple and three shapes emerge, silhouettes sharp, bodies shimmering with heat like walking furnace ghosts. Bailey steps in front of me, posture predatory, protective, terrified. The air ignites, not with flame, but tension so hot it could combust. One of them smiles, slow and cruel. "She burns bright," he says, eyes flicking to me. "She's half lit already." Bailey's growl is low, feral, heartbreak and rage melted together. "If you touch her." "What? You'll flare?" the woman on the left taunts. "You'll scorch the entire district?" Bailey's skin cracks with light at her jaw, gold bleeding through like veins of fire. "I'll end you." "You can't," the third whispers. "Not while you're tethered." The way he says it, tethered, makes my pulse lurch. I step out from behind Bailey before she can stop me, heat rising in my chest like defiance. "She's not tethered," I say, voice low, surprising even me. "I chose her." Bailey looks at me like my words just broke the sky open. The one who smiled laughs. "Oh, little spark," he purrs. "You don't choose fire. Fire chooses what to devour." Something snaps inside me, fear turning to fury, heat twisting into purpose. The ember in my chest erupts, not violently but fiercely, warmth surging down my arms, skin glowing like sunrise under skin. They all still. Silence thickens. Bailey whispers my name like a prayer and a warning. Alice, back away from her, I say, voice steady though my hands tremble with heat rising through them.
Now.
The man steps forward instead. Bailey roars, literal heat roaring through her body like a furnace waking, but before she ignites fully, something bursts out of me. Not flame.
Light. Heat.
Pressure. A shockwave radiates from my skin like sunlight shoved into a pulse, and the air snaps. Crack. Echoing off steel and brick. The three flinch, actually flinch and stagger back. Bailey stares at me with awe and terror. You're awakening too fast, she breathes. I feel dizzy, electrified, alive in a way that terrifies me. I didn't try to. It reacts to threat, she says, grabbing my shoulders, steadying me as much as herself. To protect.
To claim.
Fire doesn't wait for permission. The enemy wipes blood from his lip, eyes narrowing. So be it. The air warps, heat rising, battle imminent. Bailey whispers, stay behind me. Like hell, I whisper back, and the ember under my ribs answers with a pulse that feels like destiny learning to ignite. The moment the shockwave dies, the world holds its breath like the air itself is afraid to move, dust hanging midair like ash caught in frozen wind, and Bailey stands in front of me shaking with heat building beneath her skin like she's a star trying not to collapse and turn the earth molten around us. The three fire-marked figures recover slowly, eyes flicking between me and Bailey with new calculation, like I am no longer irrelevant, like I have become a problem they didn't expect, a variable, a threat, or maybe a gift they want to rip away from her. She's accelerating, the woman says, voice dripping with both awe and hunger. The flame inside her wakes fast. That's rare. The man on the right smirks. She'll make a powerful one. His gaze crawls over me like heat too close to skin, and Bailey steps forward, body stiffening with a violence so pure it feels like the building tilts around her. You will not touch her, she growls, and her voice is cracking at the edges like too much power is bleeding through her lungs. You don't own her, the third replies softly, and his tone carries a quiet menace scarier than the others. Bailey's laugh is a broken thing, wild and painful. I don't own anything. I destroy. The woman tilts her head. Then why hasn't she burned? Bailey doesn't answer. She can't. Because the answer is standing behind her with a heartbeat pulsing warmth into the air.
The answer is me.
And the flame answering inside me glows hotter at their words like it knows it was seen and won't shrink. Don't speak like I'm not here, I say, voice steady in a way that surprises me. You don't get to decide what I am. The enemies smile like wolves in firelight. We aren't deciding, one murmurs. The fire will. Bailey doesn't give them another second to speak. She launches forward like a spark hitting gasoline. Heat explodes outward from her, visible, violent, bending the air into trembling waves and making the steel beams in the warehouse groan under pressure. It's like watching the moment a wildfire chooses a direction. The three meet her with flames bursting from their arms, from their bones, from their mouths, tongues of orange and gold whipping through the air as if the room has become the lungs of a dying star. Bailey slams into the first, their bodies crashing like thunder, sparks flying, her fists leaving glowing cracks across his skin. He counters with a burst of heat, so intense metal melts near them. Bailey roars, and the sound is not human. It is ancient, elemental, the scream of a volcano exhaling centuries of held breath. Light shreds across her ribs like fire is trying to tear its way out. She's losing control.
Fast.
The second attacker rushes me while the third circles behind, and instinct floods me faster than fear. The heat under my ribs surges like it's waiting, wanting. I don't think I move. I throw my arm up and light bursts out. Not fire, but shimmering heat shock shimmering like a sunbeam turned solid. The woman jolts back, skin hissing where the wave hit her, shock flickering over her face. I stumble, inhaling sharply as the warmth inside me coils like a serpent waking. Bailey sees it, and the sight cracks something in her. For a heartbeat she falters. She is fire, but she is also fear and love and terror of what she has made of me. That hesitation nearly kills her. The third attacker lunges, heat flaring around their arm like a blade made of flame. There is no time to think. I move without thought, body reacting to something older and deeper than reason. I throw myself at Bailey, hand pressing flat against the center of her chest, right over where her heart should be. The contact is nuclear. A rush of heat bursts through both of us like the air has turned molten, like our skin is learning how to be flame and flesh at once. My vision whites out. Everything is heat and heart and breath and her name. For a second the world disappears. Only us. Only heat. Only pulse. When sight returns, Bailey's fire collapses like someone pulled the sun out of her lungs. The light under her skin dims, her body staggers. She falls into me like gravity chose me for her, and nothing else exists. We crash to our knees together, and her forehead presses to mine, both of us trembling like the world is still shaking. Her voice cracks into my mouth, barely sound. Don't touch me when I'm burning. You'll become like me. Maybe I already am. I whisper back, voice shaking. Maybe you didn't save me. Maybe you started me. Her breath catches with something between agony and longing. Alice, it's not a word. It's a wound. But the attackers are not done. The one Bailey cracked across the jaw rises, blood like glowing lava dripping down his chin. No, he says, voice like scorched stone. She doesn't start, she finishes. He lunges again, and this time I don't push, I pull. Heat drags from the air around us, from the room, from somehow, everywhere, and it floods through my arm like a tide, like lightning without pain. I lift my palm. I don't know how I know what comes next, but I do. The ground around my hand ripples. The air warps. Light rises. And a shockwave of heat bursts forward, precise, sharp, controlled. A blade of warmth, not flame, not destruction, but force. He is thrown back into a wall hard enough to crack concrete. Silence slams into the warehouse. Bailey's breath stutters. The two remaining enemies stare at me with a hunger now tinged with fear. She's not like us, one whispers. She's something else. Bailey snarls, even weak, still lethal. Get out. For a moment they consider defying her. Then they retreat, dissolving into heat shimmer like ghosts burning out of sight. When they are gone, Bailey collapses forward into me fully, body shaking, and I wrap my arms around her because she is overheating and terrified and trembling from effort, and she does not push me away this time. You can't fight like me, she rasps into my throat. You'll lose yourself. Then let me lose myself next to you. I whisper fiercely. Not alone. Her fingers clutch my shirt like she's drowning, and I'm the only shore left. For a few suspended breaths, we just cling to each other, heat pulsing between our chests like matched heartbeats learning the same rhythm. And then she lifts her head, eyes bright, softer than fire has ever allowed her to be. If you stay, you will burn. If I leave, I murmur, I burn slower. Tears flash in her eyes. Real tears, not steam. I don't know how to love without ruins, she admits in a voice that shakes. Then let me choose the ruin. I breathe, and something breaks in her. Not her restraint, not her power, but her loneliness. She leans her forehead to mine again, trembling. Don't make promises in a burning room, she whispers. They become vows. Then let them. The fire inside me answers. And for the first time, she doesn't resist. Fire doesn't just destroy. Fire bonds. Fire claims. Fire remembers. And we are already burning. There's a moment after they vanish where the world feels hollow, not safe, not calm, just emptied of threat but not of fear, not of heat, not of the terrible knowledge that whatever we are becoming is accelerating with each breath we take near each other. Bailey is still pressed against me, trembling, her forehead against mine like she's memorizing the last moment before everything collapses. And then she pulls away abruptly as if my touch burns her in a way fire never did, stumbling back, breath hitching like she's choking on smoke only she can see. I shouldn't have let that happen, she whispers, voice raw, fractured. I should have left before. Before what? I step forward, heat curling under my ribs like it wants her back in my orbit. Before I helped you survive. She shakes her head violently, fingers digging into her hair like she wants to tear out the fire growing inside her skull. Before you became like me. I'm not like you. Pain flickers across her face at the words, but I don't let her misread it. Not yet. But I'm not afraid of what's happening. You should be. Her voice is a ghost of flame. You think this is power? You think this is destiny? This is a slow death wearing a beautiful mask. My heart thuds, steady, defiant. Then I want to face it with you. She flinches, almost angry now, anger born of fear, love, guilt tangled into one unbearable knot. You don't understand what it takes from us, she breathes. What it took from me. Then tell me. She looks away, and the silence is worse than screaming. I can't. You don't trust me? I trust you more than anything. Her voice is a wound. That's the problem. She turns, jaw set, muscles shaking with restraint. You won't survive if I stay. Then take me with you. She laughs, broken, disbelieving, terrified. If I keep you close, you'll burn. If I leave, you'll break. There is no winning here, Alice. There's choosing. Fire doesn't choose, she snaps. It consumes. I'm not fire. She meets my eyes, shaking. You are becoming it. She steps back again, heat flickering along her fingertips like guilt and instinct battling under her skin. I have to go. Panic spikes, fierce, primal. No, if I stay, you ignite. If you leave, I still do. For a second, she looks like she might stay anyway, like she might choose desire over fear, like the gravity between us is too strong. But then something in her face fractures, resolve, heartbreak, the last thread of restraint, and she turns away, voice barely a breath. Don't follow me. She disappears in a shimmer of heat, leaving the warehouse colder than it has ever been, colder than it should be, colder than the absence of sun. And then it hits. Heat, violent, sudden, unbearable, flares inside my chest like someone lit a fuse in my ribs. I gasp, collapsing to the concrete as fire that isn't fire claws under my skin, races through my veins, licks up my throat, heat climbing until the world blurs and my vision whites out around the edges. Bailey, it's not a call. It's a dead woman's instinct, a plea I don't even control. Pain sears through me like molten metal poured into bone. My palms press to the floor, and the concrete beneath my skin warms, then heats, then smokes faintly. Oh God. I'm burning. Not outside. Inside. Bailey, I choke again, voice strangled, tears hissing as they hit my cheeks. My spine arches, chest tightening like I can't draw air because the fire inside me is taking up all the space. My skin glows faintly, gold light pulsing beneath it like I swallowed the sun, and now it's clawing to escape. I curl forward, breath ragged. Come back. I don't know if I say it aloud or only think it, but the world responds anyway. Heat vanishes. Just gone. Ripped out of me like someone grabbed it by the spine and yanked. I collapse, gasping, trembling, freezing like every cell in my body just remembered how cold alone is. Someone is there. I feel her before I see her. Heat returning in a gentler wave this time, desperate, frantic. Alice, Alice. Bailey drops to her knees, hands on my shoulders, panic cracking in her voice like shattering glass. I felt you, God. I felt you burning. She gathers me into her lap like she's afraid I'll crack open and spill flame if she doesn't hold me together. Her hands shake against my face, against my chest, like she's trying to press me back into solid form. Why would you do that? I manage between trembling breaths. Leave. Her voice breaks like a dam bursting. To save you. You almost killed me doing it. Her breath stutters, agony twisting her expression. I know. Then don't leave. Alice, she chokes. Every second near you speeds it up. I'll die if you go. You'll burn if I stay. Then burn with me. Silence slams into the room. She stares at me like I've spoken prophecy and damnation at once. And then, very slowly, like gravity is dragging her, she presses her forehead to mine again. You don't understand, she whispers, voice shaking from the inside out. The night of the fire, I didn't pull you out because I'm good. I pulled you out because the fire chose you too. It wanted you. It called you. And I couldn't let it have you. It had you. It remade me. Her fingers tighten in my shirt. If it remakes you, I don't know if you'll still be you. I cup her jaw weakly because my hands still tremble, and she closes her eyes like my touch cuts her open in ways fire never could. Then stay and find out. You are asking me to doom you. You doomed me 5 years ago when you picked me up in that fire. I saved you. You changed me. I didn't want to, but you did. Her breath shudders, a tremor running through her whole body. What if I finish what I started? Then finish it with me, not without me. She looks at me like the world just broke open under her feet. Heat curls around us, not burning, not dangerous, just warm, alive, familiar. I came back because you called. I'll always call. Her voice is a whisper of surrender and terror. And I'll always answer. A pause hangs, heavy, holy, terrifying. I can't lose you, she whispers. Then don't walk away. She exhales like it hurts. Then she nods, tiny, trembling, inevitable. Then we burn together. And the ember inside me answers, bright enough that I feel it, not just heat but something else, something deeper. Destiny curling its fingers around both our throats. Outside, something powerful stirs in the distance, like the world felt our vow and flinched. Bailey hears it.
So do I.
But neither of us look away. Because the fire didn't ruin us. It claimed us. And fire, once claimed, does not give back what it chooses. We don't move for a long time, like motion itself might break whatever fragile truce the universe just made with us, like breathing too loudly might call the fire hunters back, like the only safe thing in the world is our foreheads touching and the trembling thread of heat between us that feels less like danger now and more like a promise neither of us ever agreed to but both of us understand. Eventually Bailey exhales, slow and unsteady, and the warmth radiating from her softens from violent heat into something gentler, like the glow of coals after a wildfire passes, dangerous still but tired, wanting rest, wanting peace. She has never been allowed. I need to show you something, she murmurs, voice thin with exhaustion and fear, and she rises, pulling me up with her, fingers staying tangled in mine like she doesn't trust her body to let go without unraveling completely. We leave the warehouse through a side door into an alley washed in silver moonlight, the night air cool against skin still humming with internal heat, and she walks fast at first, then slower as if each step hurts, as if she's carrying ancient weight in her ribs, as if the choice she made to stay, to burn with me, settled into her bones and made them heavier. She leads me through back streets, across a quiet lot, and down a forgotten road where streetlights flicker like dying candles, until we reach a stretch of forest I've never noticed even though I've lived in this city my whole life. The trees feel old, older than pavement and glass, and the lives people pretend are the world, branches leaning close together like they carry secrets and sorrow. Bailey stops just inside the tree line and lets go of my hand reluctantly, like releasing a lifeline, like stepping toward memory she doesn't want to share but needs to. Before the fire touched us, she says softly, before we were remade, some stories already existed about people like us. Stories? Warnings, she corrects, voice bitter. Myths dressed as nightmares. Nightmares dressed as prophecy. She brushes her fingers along a tree trunk and the bark smolders faintly under her touch before cooling again. They say fire doesn't choose randomly. It looks for hearts already burning. I wasn't burning before. I protest, but she turns and the look she gives me undoes me. Not anger, not disbelief, but aching understanding. You were alone, she whispers. Hollow. Carrying grief you pretended wasn't killing you. The truth cuts, sharp, quiet, merciless. I look away, but she steps closer, lifting my chin gently, like she refuses to let me hide. I felt it in you when I carried you out. You had already been burning. The fire just finished what started. I didn't want this. Neither did I. The silence after feels like snow falling into a volcano, impossible and inevitable. She leads me deeper into the woods until we reach a clearing where the earth is blackened, scorched in a perfect circle like lightning struck here once and never left. The ground still holds faint warmth when I crouch to touch it, like the soil remembers flame the way skin remembers pain. This is where we come to try to control it, Bailey murmurs. Those of us who don't want to become monsters. The word twists in my chest. You're not a monster. Sometimes I am. Not with me. She doesn't answer. She kneels in the center of the scorched circle and gestures for me to sit across from her. When I do, she takes a shaky breath. Close your eyes. I obey, heart pounding as heat curls low in my stomach. Feel the ember, she whispers. Find where it sleeps. It doesn't sleep, it waits. When I breathe inward, warmth rises, slow like sap climbing a tree, then faster, licking up my spine, flaring at my ribs, and then my heartbeat doubles, one pulse mine, one pulse heat. Don't fight it, she murmurs. Guide it. But heat is not meant to be guided. It wants. It takes. It reaches toward her like recognition. My eyes snap open as a spark flares beneath my collarbone, skin glowing gold, light bleeding upward like veins of molten light. Bailey opens her eyes too, and the breath leaves her body. You're too fast, she whispers, almost horrified, almost reverent. It's responding to me, I say, voice trembling. It's responding to us. Something flickers across her expression. Fear, longing, disbelief, devotion, and then she reaches out, fingertip brushing my hand. The spark leaps, literal light skipping from my skin to hers.
She gasps.
The clearing heats. My body reacts violently. Heat flushes my throat, my chest, my jaw, like her touch is ignition. She snatches her hand back, but it's too late. The fire in her cracks through her skin, light blazing in fissures along her arms, her neck, like she's coming apart. Bailey, don't touch me, she chokes, voice breaking, skin glowing brighter, hair lifting slightly as heat warps the air around her. If you touch me when it rises, we both ignite. Then control it. I can't. And I see it, really see it, the terror under her power, the pain of holding fire that wants to devour the world, the helplessness of a flame that doesn't understand gentle. She kneels shaking, fists digging into the earth, steam rising around her. Breathe, I whisper. With me. I press my palm to the ground instead of her skin, grounding myself, grounding her through proximity, through choice, through whatever bond the fire forged between us. I inhale slow. She follows, ragged. I exhale. She shudders, heat dimming fraction by fraction. We breathe like that again. And again. Heat softens. Light retreats. Flesh returns. Skin stops glowing. She is Bailey again. Not fire, not fury, but exhausted, beautiful ruin. When she lifts her head, tears of heat cling to her lashes before cooling into salt on her cheeks. You anchor me, she whispers, voice shaking. I don't know if that's salvation or doom. Why can't it be both? Because fire doesn't get both. Then we rewrite the rule. A soft, broken laugh escapes her. Alice. And then she leans forward, slow like prayer, like surrender, forehead touching mine, heat gentle, breath shared, air trembling between us like it's waiting for flame. My heart trips. My lips almost brush hers, but she jerks back just before contact, breathing sharp, eyes blazing with hunger and panic. If we cross that line, she whispers, voice shaking, the fire will bind us fully. There will be no turning back. No separating fate from flame. Maybe there already isn't. She looks at me like she could break me gently or burn the world for me. You don't know what love looks like when fire owns you, she murmurs. It's not romance. It's destruction disguised as devotion. Or devotion disguised as destruction. Her breath stutters. But before she can answer, the trees shudder. A sound rips through the night, not footsteps, not voices. Something else. Something heavier. A low, pulsing hum vibrates the air. Bailey's eyes sharpen instantly. They've brought a dampener, she whispers, horror in her voice. Something to smother flame. My pulse spikes. Smother. Or consume, she replies, rising to her feet in one fluid motion. If they take us now, we don't come back. She reaches for me but stops halfway, fist clenching like touching me is both salvation and sin. Run, I ask. She shakes her head.
No.
This time we fight. The hum grows louder like a swarm of hornets made of electricity and hunger, vibrating through the ground, through bark, through bone, and my skin prickles with heat on instinct, the ember inside me flaring in warning like it recognizes something ancient and hostile coming through the trees, something born not of flame, but of cold that hates fire the way drought hates rain. Bailey steps in front of me, stance low, body coiled like a fuse about to catch, but heat flickers across her jaw like fear is trying to smother her flame, and for the first time since she returned to me, she looks genuinely afraid, not of dying but of what they can take from us, from her, from me. Stay behind me, she murmurs, and I almost argue, but the forest shifts before I can speak, dark shapes emerging between trunks like shadows carved from cooled ash, 3 of them again but different now, no molten glow, no living flame in their eyes, only a dull sheen like metal cooled after devouring too much heat, and between them they will a device that makes the air feel wrong, heavy, suffocating. A dull humming orb housed in black iron veins like a collapsed star caged in machinery. My breath stutters. The device vibrates and the fire inside me flickers, like wind trying to snuff a candle. It terrifies me more than flame ever could. That's the dampener, Bailey breathes, voice ragged. It doesn't just weaken us. It feeds on us. I feel it, like invisible hands gripping the warmth in my chest, squeezing, trying to drain it. You can't win, one of the figures calls, voice flat, mechanical, as if whatever humanity once lived in them burned out long ago. Give her to us, Bailey. Let her be extinguished before she destroys you both. Bailey laughs, bitter and broken, the sound like a spark grinding against stone. She is not yours to command. She is not yours to save, another replies. Bailey's jaw trembles. Then she is mine to burn with. They don't like that answer. Their steps quicken. The orb hums higher, dragging warmth from the air, from my bloodstream, from my soul, and I gasp as heat jolts inside me like a flame whipped by wind and then bent low, forced to kneel. Alice, Bailey says sharply, listen to me. Focus on breathing. Don't let it take everything. But I can barely breathe. The ember in me flickers, dims, flickers again, desperate, fighting, burning small like a wounded animal trying not to die. Bailey sees it happening, and something inside her snaps. The cracks of fire under her skin ignite, glowing, veins turning molten, edges of her silhouette blurring like she's seconds from losing human shape. No, she growls, voice layered with something ancient. I will not let you take her. She lunges, fire blasting from her palms, a wave of heat tearing across the clearing so fast the grass ignites, but when it reaches the sphere, the flames bend inward like they're being sucked, devoured, pulled into a void. Bailey staggers, coughing, hands shaking, fire guttering in her palms like a candle smothered under glass. They built this for us, she snarls. To starve us. To make us kneel. The figures advance, cold and hungry. The device pulses. My fire dims further, panic clawing my ribs. Bailey roars, tries again. Heat surges out but weaker, smaller, as if her fire is being eaten alive. Stop, one says. You are only feeding it. Bailey trembles, eyes blazing with helpless fury. The device drains her. It drains me. It drains everything. The forest feels wrong, like life itself recoils. I drop to my knees as my warmth sputters, chest aching like a heart is dying inside me. Alice, no. Bailey rushes toward me but freezes halfway like invisible chains drag at her limbs. She drops too, breathing sharp, light under her skin dimming like she's being extinguished cell by cell. One of the figures steps forward. Fire is hunger, he says. Fire is grief. Fire is sin. We cure what you are. We end the mistake. I am not a mistake, Bailey spits, voice ragged. I was chosen. So was she, they say, gaze shifting to me, and you should have let her die that night. Bailey screams, not from flame but from pain, the words ripping her open like a knife. My heartbeat stutters at the edges of silence. I can barely feel warmth now, just the ghost of heat. Just memory. I choke on cold air, shaking. Bailey crawls toward me, dragging herself like gravity doubled. Stay awake, she begs, voice shattering. Stay with me. Don't you fade. I reach for her hand. Our fingers brush, and for a moment warmth sparks weakly like a dying match, a plea, a promise. The sphere pulses, and the spark dies. Something inside me collapses. My vision blurs. I feel myself slipping like ash on wind. Bailey sees the moment I start to fall. No, she whispers. Please no. Her fire erupts, not bright, not strong, but wild, panicked, raw survival instinct. The sphere drinks it greedily. She convulses, biting back a scream. Let her go, and take me instead, she cries. Take the original flame. Leave her. The hunters pause, tempted. Horrified, I rasp, Bailey, don't. My voice barely exists. If they take you, live, she pleads. You live. Without you. My voice cracks into nothing. Her face breaks like she never expected to hear love out loud. Alice, she tries to stand between me and them, even as she shakes, even as power drains from her like blood from a vein. Run, she whispers, voice barely sound. You can't save me. Watch me. I breathe. The cold sinks claws in my lungs and my vision dims like sleep leaning into death. I think I'm falling. I think I'm gone. And then something inside me snaps. Not breaks, snaps. Like a locked door kicked open. Cold presses further, and the ember inside me goes still.
Silent.
Then roars. Heat detonates in my chest like a sun learning to wake. A sound rips from my throat, not human. Not flame. Something in between. My skin glows gold again, then brighter, brighter, not cracks like Bailey, but seamless light, pressure, heat turned into force rather than destruction. The dampener hum wavers. The hunters twitch. Bailey stares, stunned. Alice, no, you can't. But it's too late. I am not burning. I am igniting. Heat floods through me like I swallowed dawn. The ground trembles. Leaves curl, but not from fire, from force. Not flame.
Light.
The sphere pulses harder to fight me. I pulse back. My fire does not feed it. My fire resists. Learns.
Fights. I stand.
The figures back up instinctively, like prey realizing the wrong thing evolved. Bailey whispers, awe and terror tangled in her voice. She's not like us. I lift my hand, palm glowing like a star compressed to flesh, and the air shifts, heavy and bright. Stay away from her, I say, voice layered like I am speaking with heat as my second tongue. The sphere vibrates violently. I feel it pulling, and I push back. A wave of warmth blasts out, not fire, not flame, but radiant heat like summer given form, like life instead of ruin. The device screams, metal groaning, cracking, and with one final surge, I send all the heat outward in a single command not to burn but to break. The sphere shatters in a thunderclap. A shockwave rolls across the clearing like the forest is exhaling. The hunters stagger, flicker, then retreat into shadow like smoke sucked into a void. Silence falls like snow on flame. My glow fades slowly, body trembling. Bailey stares at me like I am the miracle and the apocalypse in the same breath. Alice, she whispers, voice shaking. What are you? I sway, exhaustion crashing over me like cooled metal collapsing. She catches me before I fall, arms wrapping around me, Heat gentle now, protective, reverent. I rest my head against her shoulder, breath weak, but alive. Not fire, I whisper. Not exactly. No, she murmurs, voice trembling. You're something new. She holds me tighter, afraid to let go, afraid to look away. And I don't know if you're salvation, her voice cracks, or the fire's revenge. But her arms don't loosen. Because whatever I am, whatever I'm becoming, she will not leave again. Not without burning first. When consciousness returns, it doesn't come softly. It claws back into me like heat fighting suffocation, like flame forcing its way through wet earth, like something ancient in my chest refuses extinction. I wake gasping, vision blurry, body heavy, heat faint but pulsing, not wild like before, but quiet, steady, like a heartbeat made of dusk rather than dawn. And at first I don't recognize where I am. Stone walls, soft light from candles that flicker but don't melt, warmth radiating from the floor itself like heat woven into rock. I try to sit, but my muscles shake, weak and molten at once. A hand steadies me, strong, trembling, warm. Easy, Bailey whispers, and something inside me settles at the sound of her voice, like my fire recognizes its anchor before my mind does. She pulls me against her slowly, like I am fragile glass, and she has the hands of flame, terrified to shatter me. You burned out, she murmurs, tone full of fear and awe and guilt braided into every breath, and then you burned through. My voice is faint. Where are we? Safe, she says, but the way her jaw clenches tells me safety is a temporary fiction. Deep beneath the old reservoir, in the chambers the others built. Others? I echo, and then I hear it. Footsteps beyond the chamber. Whispers low and tense like wind through fractured embers. Voices that carry heat, but also bitterness, suspicion, grief. Bailey's body tenses around mine, as if shielding me from words I haven't heard yet. They came when they felt the shockwave, she says quietly. When you shattered the dampener. I swallow. Are they enemies? They are what remains of us, she answers, and sorrow shadows her face like ash settling on still-burning coals. Some hide. Some fight. Some break. She swallows. Some obey. Before I can ask who or what they obey, a voice cuts through the chamber doorway, low, trembling, reverent, terrified. Let us see her. Bailey stands instantly, body coiling like flame ready to devour anything that threatens me. You'll not touch her. We do not wish to. Another voice replies, older, ragged, scarred by smoke in a way no lungs should survive. We wish to witness. Bailey moves in front of me as three figures enter. 2 men, 1 woman, skin faintly marbled with gold cracks like old molten veins long cooled, their eyes dimmer than Bailey's, but still holding that ancient hunger, that pain of living between worlds. They stop a few feet away, staring as if I am something myth once whispered, but never dared believe. The eldest speaks, voice shaking. We felt the pulse. The heat that was not heat. The light that did not burn. Bailey's jaw tightens. Leave. But the woman steps forward, not close, but closer than Bailey wants, and her gaze fixes on me with trembling awe. Show me your palm. Bailey snarls, literal heat flickering from her skin, but I lay a hand on her arm, a touch so soft, yet she freezes like I anchored her with a thread of gold. It's okay, I whisper, though I don't know if it is. She trembles beneath my hand, but she doesn't stop me when I extend my palm. The woman inhales sharply. The faintest shimmer pulses beneath my skin, not flame like theirs, not fracture like Bailey's, but glow, gentle, controlled, alive. No cracks, she whispers. No fracture lines. No tearing. The eldest breathes, almost faint. She did not break to become. She transformed. That is impossible, the other man murmurs, fear tainting each word. Fire remakes by destruction. The woman shakes her head slowly, eyes widening with wonder and terror. Unless she is not fire. Silence falls heavy, vibrating in the bones of the stone walls. Then the eldest speaks a word that doesn't sound spoken so much as exhaled from something older than language. Phoenix. The room reacts like the earth itself flinched. Bailey goes rigid, eyes blazing with denial and dread, while heat surges under my ribs at the sound, not violently, not painfully, but like recognition, like a blade sliding from a sheath. No, Bailey snaps, stepping in front of me again, voice shaking with fury so sharp it cuts. She is not that. The woman doesn't flinch, though her voice cracks with awe. The fire did not consume her. It crowned her. Bailey shakes her head, breath unsteady. Phoenix is myth. Rumor. Story used to comfort those burning too long. The elder steps forward, slow, reverent. We all felt her pulse through the dampener. It did not feed it. It starved it. Because she is different, Bailey growls. Not mythical. Just changed. Changed into what? The man asks, voice hollow. Bailey has no answer. Heat crawls up my spine, slow, inevitable, not scorching but illuminating. What did they mean? I whisper, voice small. Bailey turns toward me, anguish in her eyes like I've asked to open her chest and touch the molten thing inside. You are not meant to carry prophecy. I didn't choose this, I say softly, trembling with truth. But it chose me. She drops to her knees in front of me, like her strength finally buckled under the weight of fate. Her hands hover near my face but don't touch, too afraid of what her heat might do, or what mine might answer. You don't understand, she whispers. If you are Phoenix, you do not burn once. The eldest finishes for her, voice trembling. Phoenix burns endless. The room spins gently and steadies only when Bailey cups her hands close to my jaw, not touching, just holding space like a prayer with no God to hear it. You would live every fire alone, she says, voice breaking. You would die and rise and die and rise. Forever. I feel the weight of that. Eternity made not of bliss, but of ash and awakening, never ending, never resting. My throat tightens. And you? I burn once, she whispers. And then I stay gone. The pain in her eyes is unbearable, like she is imagining watching me rise from her ashes while she stays dust. The woman speaks again, gentle, almost kind. If she is Phoenix, she will outlive flame, outlive ruin, outlive us. Bailey's voice shatters. She will outlive love. My breath hitches. The idea of eternity without her feels colder than the dampener ever did. Stop, I whisper, grabbing her hands before she can pull away. Heat rushes between us, but softer this time, not wildfire, but heartbeat warmth. I don't even know what I am yet. I know enough, she says, voice shaking. I have seen fire's cruelty. I will not let it turn you into myth to make itself feel holy. What if I am not myth? What if you are? Silence.
Heavy. Sacred. Terrifying.
Then Bailey stands slowly, fury trembling under her skin like flame trapped behind glass. She glares at the others. Leave her.
Now.
They bow, not to her, but to me, and the gesture makes my stomach twist. Reverence feels like chains too. They back away, footsteps fading until it's just us again, alone in a chamber carved out by hope or fear or both. Bailey looks at me like the world just shifted, and she doesn't know how to stand on new ground. You weren't supposed to be this, she whispers. You were supposed to live, not transcend. Maybe I can do both. No one can. We don't know that. I know what fire takes. And I know what it gives. She flinches. Hope is not a shield, Alice. Neither is despair. She exhales, broken, then pulls me into her arms, holding me tight like she needs proof I still exist in flesh and not flame alone. Her voice trembles against my neck. I can't love something the world will worship. I touch her hair, fingers sliding through dark strands that carry warmth like memory. Then don't worship me. Stay with me. Even if you rise when I fall? Especially then. She shakes, a soft sob breaking free before she swallows it back down. I don't want you to be legend, she whispers. I want you to be mine. The fire in me answers to that word, fierce and gentle, and for a moment I swear it purrs like heat-learning tenderness. I press my forehead to hers and breathe her in. Maybe I can be both. Her eyes close like the idea hurts and heals in equal measure. Outside, something stirs, another ripple of heat, or destiny, or danger. The world is shifting around us. But in this moment, in her arms, one truth blazes clear and quiet as sunrise over ashes. I am not done becoming. And neither is she. The chamber hums with a quiet I don't trust, the kind that comes before storms, before battlefields ignite, before destiny remembers it has teeth, and Bailey's arms around me are the only solid thing in a world suddenly too vast, too bright, too breakable. She pulls back just enough to search my face, eyes moving like she's memorizing me in case memory becomes all she is left one day, and her voice comes low, frayed, like a thread soaked in flame and hope at the same time. There is something I never told you about that night, and dread slips cold and sharp down my spine, even though heat still pulses gentle beneath my skin. Bailey, you think I found you by accident, she whispers, hands hovering near my jaw like she wants to hold me but fears she might crumble if she does. But fire doesn't send us where it wants. It sends us where it needs. My heart stutters. You didn't just happen to be there. She shakes her head, throat tight, pain etched into every line of her face. I was dying, she says quietly, and the fire was choosing another vessel. It led me to you. The words sink with the weight of fate, ancient and cruel. So you didn't save me. I breathe, voice cracking. You were drawn to me. I didn't know what it meant, she rushes, desperate. I didn't know it was you until I saw your face in the smoke, and then she swallows like she can taste ash in her mouth. I couldn't let it take you. I fought fate for you. I burned myself trying to carry you out. I feel it. The grief behind her bravery, the terror behind her choice. You weren't trying to be a hero. No, she whispers, shaking. I was trying to steal the future from fire. And in doing so, I gave it to you. I exhale, slow, trembling. Fate doesn't feel holy. It feels like a chain.
A crown.
A curse. So, I was always meant to become this. Or always meant to die in your place, she says, voice barely sound. The fire chooses heirs. It wanted you. I didn't let it. And now, her voice breaks. You are something beyond it. A silence heavy as molten stone stretches. You think you damned me, I say. I know I did, she whispers. I feel the bond pulling us both toward an edge neither of us can survive. Something in me cracks, not fear, not anger, something deeper, more dangerous, resolve wrapped in love. If I am Phoenix, I murmur, then I rise. I rise from ruin. That means the fire never owned me. Tears gather in her eyes, shining like molten gold on lashes. But eternity will. Not if you stand with me. I burn once, Alice. Then burn next to me. I whisper, fierce, trembling. Not behind. Not beneath. Beside. She closes her eyes, and the way she inhales feels like surrender. But destiny is spiteful. Destiny doesn't allow quiet confessions. The ground shivers. A deep thrum rises from the stone, followed by a pulse of unnatural cold sliding through the chamber, like winter invading bone. Bailey's head snaps up. They found us. The doorway explodes inward, stone cracking, heat-trapped air bursting free, and pain-born fire shapes rush in, dozens this time, glowing eyes void of soul, carrying another device but twisted, evolving, darker, metallic bloom pulsing with hunger, not to suppress fire but to consume it, devour power, devour flame, devour us. The elder fireborn screams. They brought a furnace, and panic ripples through the chamber like sparks on gasoline. Bailey shoves me behind her, heat rising fast under her skin like panic ignites her blood. Stay back. No, the word leaves me like a shard of heat, instinctive, final. I step beside her, not behind, and the air trembles, not from fire but from choice. She looks at me then, really looks, and fear and awe battle in her eyes. If you fight with me, you seal it, she whispers, voice rough. The bond, the fate, the burn. Then seal it, I breathe back. I don't need a future without you in it. Something primal in her breaks and reforms all at once, like glass melting into new shape, and then she grabs my face in both hands, fire trembling under her skin, and she kisses me. Not soft, not gentle, but fierce, hungry, desperate, a collision of fate and fear and love and surrender. Heat flares from her mouth into mine, and from mine into hers, but it isn't pain, it's ignition alignment, two sparks becoming one impossible blaze. The world falls away, no forest, no hunters, no death. Only us, heat humming like promise, like vow, like prophecy written in the space between heartbeats. When she pulls back, her eyes are wild and holy and terrified. We are undone now, she breathes. Or remade. A roar cuts the air. The furnace device awakens, light swirling, hungry void trembling with power meant to unmake us. Fireborn scatter. Stone cracks.
Heat builds.
Doom arrives. Bailey ignites, not losing control, but choosing it, fire traveling her veins like purpose reborn. Stay behind me, she whispers again, but I shake my head.
No more behind, I say.
We burn forward. My skin glows, not cracking like hers, but shining, golden, steady, light gathering in my palms like sun pulled into bone. Bailey bares her teeth in something between fear and proud disbelief. Phoenix, she breathes, reverent and ruined. No, I whisper back, voice steady like flame learning eternity, just someone who won't let you burn alone. The furnace shrieks, consuming flame around us, pulling power, pulling heat. Fireborn collapse. Bailey staggers, but I step forward and the light in me flares, bright enough to stop the pull, bright enough to still the hunger, bright enough to make every enemy hesitate like they just realized they brought an abyss to fight a sunrise. Come, I whisper to the furnace, to the hunters, to destiny itself. Try to take us. The ground splits. Heat rises. Our bond pulses once like the heartbeat of creation choosing fire as its language. And the world braces for what we are about to become. The world doesn't explode into battle so much as it inhales a long, shaking breath held tight by fate itself before releasing chaos all at once. The furnace roars, hungry void opening wide like a star collapsing inward to swallow everything that has ever burned, and Bailey steps forward with fire rising over her skin like the world's most beautiful heartbreak, every fracture line along her arms and throat glowing hot as magma, every breath a prayer and a threat, a promise and an ending. She looks at me once more, that soft, impossible tenderness breaking through the wildfire in her eyes as if love itself is the only heat she can't control. Then she turns to face the devouring machine that wants to erase us. All of us. All fire. All myth. All future. I don't let her go alone. The moment I move beside her, the air shifts, fire and light aligning, not fighting but weaving, not devouring but binding, the ground beneath us trembling like it recognizes a new law being written into its bones. The furnace pulses, suckling at the flames around us, dragging the power from every fireborn in the chamber. Bodies collapse, chests heaving, lights flickering along their veins like dying star embers, and Bailey screams, not in fear but fury, a defiant eruption of power as she thrusts her arms forward and unleashes heat so violent the air itself warps into waves of molten gold. The furnace drinks it greedily. Bailey falters, knees buckling as the machine devours her strength, and panic lances through me, sharp as a blade forged from grief and hope and everything we are. Bailey. I reach for her, but she snarls, "Don't, if you feed it too." But her words choke off when one of the enemy lunges, blade of cooled flame, obsidian forged from extinguished fire, aimed at my heart. I don't think. I don't choose. I become. Light bursts from my chest, not flare, not fire, not destruction, but radiance, force, heat shaped into will, and the blade evaporates in the air before it touches me, the attacker thrown back by a wave that ripples not with violence, but authority. Bailey stares like She's watching creation rewrite itself. Alice, she whispers, terrified, reverent, in awe. But the furnace pulses again, louder, stronger, dragging, hungry, and Bailey screams again as flame rips from her ribs against her will, feeding the void. Her body convulses, light splitting through her skin like she's going to combust from inside out, her form blurring like she is becoming fire instead of containing it. I feel her pain like it's seared into my bones, not shared, not borrowed, linked, our bond thrumming like two hearts learning a single beat. She is breaking. And if she breaks, she burns. If she burns alone, I rise alone. If I rise alone, eternity becomes a prison.
No.
I will not let destiny choose cruelty where love offered another path. I step in front of her, hands lifted, and the furnaces pull claws at me. But my heat doesn't bend. It resists. It refuses. The void tries to feed on me and chokes instead. Energy builds inside me, heat, power, life, and Bailey cries out, "Stop, you'll ascend, you'll leave me." No. I breathe, voice steady like sunrise. If I rise, I choose who I rise with. The furnace screams, a metallic roar of rage, the hunters screaming with it, bodies cracking as if the void inside them collapses. The machine shudders. I feel my fire stretch beyond me, vast, ancient, endless, wings made of radiance unfurling inside my soul, a pull toward the sky, toward stars, toward immortality. Phoenix.
Rise.
Burn and return forever. The word echoes inside me like a crown made of light and sorrow. But another voice rises too, human and warm and trembling, and so achingly mortal. Bailey whispering my name like a vow. Alice, the choice is a knife. Eternity alone or mortality with love. Destiny or desire. Flame without end or flame with meaning. I turn, cupping Bailey's face, light glowing from my palms but gentle now, soft against her molten skin. You gave me fire, I whisper. I choose how I burn. She trembles, tears like liquid heat slipping down her cheeks. If you give it up, I'm not giving up, I say. I'm giving too. The phoenix heat inside me surges again, begging to ascend, begging to fly beyond mortal things. I hold it, and then slowly, deliberately, I bend it. Not to myself.
To her.
Light pours from my hands into Bailey's body, not to burn, but to heal, to fill, to steady. Her fractures seal. Her flames soften. The cracks in her skin fade until she is not fire tearing itself apart. She is fire held, fire whole, the blaze that warms instead of destroys. The furnace tries to drink from me again, and this time I let it, but not gently, not feeding it, ending it. I force the fire of rebirth into the void. Light slams into darkness. Creation meets consumption. And the furnace shatters, not an explosion but implosion, collapsing in on itself like a dying galaxy, metal folding inward until there is nothing left but silence and ash. The chamber stills. The hunters fall, their flames snuffed not by me, but by the emptiness they served. I sag forward, dizzy, breath thin, power draining, not painfully, just softly, like a tide retreating from shore. Bailey catches me, grief and wonder warring in her gaze. "What did you do?" she whispers. "I chose." She looks terrified and adoring all at once. "Are you still?" The phoenix pulse is faint inside me now, quiet like embers settling after a long night. Not gone, but not commanding. Not destiny. Potential. I am what I choose to be. I breathe. And I choose us. Her breath breaks in gratitude and grief. You gave up eternity. I traded it. For what? A lifetime, I whisper, with someone worth burning for. She pulls me into her arms, clutching me like I am oxygen, and she has been burning too long without air. Around us the fireborn look on, some weeping, some kneeling, not in worship but in relief, in awe at possibility reborn not through fear but love. Bailey presses her forehead to mine, tears cooling on her cheeks, voice raw. We will still burn. Then we'll burn gently. And one day we will die. Then we will have lived. She kisses me again, soft this time, slow, like flame learning tenderness, like dawn learning warmth, like the first breath after smoke clears. Above us, the chamber ceiling cracks open just enough for morning light to spill through, golden and warm and real. Not fire. Sunday life. I lean into Bailey, hand over her heart, heat steady beneath it. She rests her hand over mine, fingers tangled. We breathe.
Together.
Mortals. Miracles. Survivors. Whatever I am, phoenix, human, flame, something in between, I chose the fire that feels like living, not endless burning. And if one day I rise again, I know how I will begin. Not in flame, but in her arms. For now, we walk upward, into light, into air, into a future not written by fire. We burn.